Hello, hello, my lovely, luscious lions. How are you, my gorgeous ones? So, this is going to be the solar eclipse reading, the lunar eclipse reading. Um, so, I decided to do a different spread for the solar eclipse that's coming. It's such a big thing for a lot of people, well, for everyone, but um, there's a lot of things going on with the solar eclipse. We had the lunar eclipse on August 7th. I decided to put a little bit of astrology in here. I am not an astrologer. I've been doing astrology for many years. I want to say like 20 something years. I don't even know. Anyway, but I'm not an astrologer, so I'm a medium. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy. I am the modern day spiritual advisor. I use multiple modalities, including tarot and astrology and hypnotherapy and a lot of stuff to help you on your path. And now, the author of my upcoming book series, Concepts Create Reality. So, my gorgeous ones, what I've done is I looked at the chart, your chart, and well, let me explain about solar eclipses first and why it's such a big hype, or why it's such a big deal. So, a lunar eclipse, eclipses in themselves are about a reboot. Okay, so think about like the computer when you turn it off, or laptop or whatever, and you turn it off and you turn it back on and you reboot, right? It's like all of a sudden you're at 0 point energy and then you can go from there, right? So you get like this reboot, right? Burst of energy, but it goes from 0 point, and from that you can go anywhere with it, right? So it's the lunar eclipse is had the full moon, right? So what that says, a lunar eclipse in itself has this big energy, but with the full moon near it, and then it being so close to the solar eclipse, it's like these changes can be abrupt. These changes can really, they're big changes, right? And then the solar eclipse, and so I'm sorry, let me say this: you can feel them for at least 3 months, but really in the first 35 days, right? So you'll feel that lunar and full moon. Lunar is about letting go, about changing, about completion. It's a completion, right? So what area is it affecting in your chart is what I've done. So I took Leo, and it's affecting, the lunar eclipse is affecting your relationships in the 7th house. And that means all types of relationships. We have all kinds of relationships, okay? And then in the solar eclipse, it's affecting your ascending. So you're ascending, I'll tell you a little bit about the 2 houses. So what I've done is done a little spread and asked, like, what are you going to be focusing on? What are these changes going to be? And what are the outcomes, right? And so a solar eclipse, it is in your sign. And so you give that energy, the solar eclipse, has that reboot, and it's a solar eclipse is about gains. A lunar eclipse is about letting go and completion of things, right? And then with the full moon, and then on the solar eclipse with the new moon. So the new moon is actually on the solar eclipse, which makes the new beginnings like a new moon on steroids, right? And then you have the solar eclipse, which is like the reboot. So you have like all these gains, right? Because you are Leo, you're the lion, you have the heart of a lion. You protect, but you're going to get yours, right? Leos get theirs. They're going to work hard, but they've got a kingdom, and they need resources, and they need to do things. So they need to help their pride. They need to protect them. They have to have resources. So that Leo energy is going into everybody, but it affects everyone in different houses. So for you, because it's your sign, it's going to affect you in your ascending, right? And this solar eclipse is going to be closest, or we're going to be able to view it here in America, right? It doesn't mean that other people around the world aren't going to be affected, but usually where you can see it is where you get the most effect. So we're having this, I think the last time we had this was 1918 that we had the solar eclipse on us like that. So America, that land, our land, has like a lot of changes and stuff coming. So that's kind of what the big hype is about. But let's focus on you guys. So, first of all, I want to thank you as Leos for bringing on that sun and shining your energy and giving us some, always protecting and helping your pride. I want to thank you for that, because if we have been working hard, all of us, if we've been working hard, then you're going to shine that and you're going to help us with that. And I want to thank you. So, for you, it's in your ascending. So what's your ascending? Your ascending is yourself, your identity, who you were, who you will be, who you are, right? That's who you are here, right? So that's what it's going to be gaining you in. And then your your lunar eclipse is your seventh house, and that's about relationships and boundaries. The seventh house is all about boundaries and relationships. Okay, so the seventh house is really interesting. I won't go too far deep into astrology. I am going to start doing videos on astrology, like go to the signs and then the houses and then the planets and sort of teach you guys some stuff, but I'm not going to do it here on YouTube. I'm going to do it on my website. So I think that's the best way to do it. That way it's not so controlled. And I can say what I want, because apparently some of my videos are getting pulled because I'm talking too much about, I know it's crazy. I know this is crazy, but it's really happening because I'm talking too much about your abilities, your awareness, your like manifestation and levitations and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, they're not really too keen on that, I guess. Anyway, I know it's crazy. But this is the thing, Leos. People, I don't think, realize how spiritual you are. I don't think they realize that, because you're so hardworking and you're so like in this earth, and you can make things happen like an earth sign, and but you're driven. You've got that. This I heard this analogy about fire signs, and I love this analogy, so I'm going to start using it. Aries, pardon me, I had my throat got dry. So Aries is like, if you think about the fire sign energy, Aries is that spark to light up the fire, right? So that's Aries. And Sagittarius is that fire that's just uncontrolled. It's just like that brush fire that's uncontrolled. But Leo energy is that fire, that huge bonfire that's on the beach or on the campsite, that's controlled, that's doing its job, that's working like that can work in congruence or in relation to everyone, the elements around them. That's Leo energy, and that's what you're bringing to us. That's what you're bringing to yourself. That's what's going on in this solar eclipse. So that's the way I like to think of you guys. So you're going to feel the effects of the lunar eclipse for 3 months, and the solar eclipse you're going to you can feel the effects for up to 3 months. You can feel the effects for up to 6 months. But really, the lunar eclipse, even though it's already passed on August 7th, you're going to feel it intensely for 30 days. The solar eclipse, you feel it intensely for 45 days. So in the middle of all this, in this time period right now, and then we have retrograde, like you're doing this back and forth, letting go, releasing, letting go, gaining, letting go. Like it's just this back and forth for you. Okay? So I don't think I introduced myself. I'm so sorry. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy. I am the modern day spiritual advisor. I use multiple modalities, including tarot, astrology, and some other things to help you on your path. And now the author of my upcoming book series, Concepts Create Reality. I'm not sure if I did the intro or not, but that's who I am. So I am a psychic medium, have been all my life. So let's talk about what's going to be going on. So the 7th house is a really interesting house to me. The 7th house is where we learn our boundaries and relationships. Okay, now if you think about the 7th house, it's almost like you're like standing in your house or standing in life, and you have all of these situations and people and relationships and all kinds of stuff behind you, and you have no cover, right? So at any point, somebody could come and hurt you, or somebody can come and give you a gift. Like that's the 7th house. So you don't know until that person actually, or that situation, or that relationship, or that thing comes in front of you and mirrors you. That's the seventh house. And when they do, you're trying to learn your boundaries. You're trying to learn how to interact and your boundaries. That's what the seventh house is about. And you are the romantics of, like, the romantics of the astrology chart. Like, you have this, listen, I've dated a lot of Leos. You have this beautiful way of courting someone, of showing someone the beauty around them and what can be possible, right? So, in that, in this relation, in this seventh house, again, it's about letting go. It's about learning. It's about tweaking. It's about letting go of that energy so that you can receive new energy. And in the seventh house, it's about boundaries. It's about learning why those people came in your life, why that situation came in your life, what is really going on. But again, until it comes to you, you won't see it, right? So what I've done here is asked, what is the focus in your seventh house? What is your position? What is the thing? What is the thing, or are the things that you're going to be releasing, working on, right? And you have the Chariot. So the Chariot is this beautiful goddess who has this black and white horse with the chariot, but she has the reins. Okay, so the Chariot, and it's number 7. Okay, that's a really, really good number, because it could be a life path number, a spiritual number. Like, it's a really good number. So this is you, this is your position, this is what you're this is what's going to be happening, this is what you're going to be focused on. So the Chariot is about her having the knowledge, the experience, the gumption, the decision making to head in the direction that she wants to go, right? Taking charge and making it happen. That's the Chariot. So that's what you're going to be focused on, is really understanding that in your relationships with everyone, with everything, with your home, with your, like, all of it, you're going to be focused on understanding that you are in control of you. You are in control of your relationships, right? The other person is co-creating, so they're in control as well, but you control what happens to you. You control what doesn't happen to you. You control who comes into your life and who doesn't. No one has done anything to you that you have not agreed to or allowed. That is what Spirit told me a long time ago, and they helped me understand it. I've gone to other realms to understand this. You don't have anybody come to you or any situation come to you unless you have agreed to it or allowed it, so that you can experience these things, so that you can have a sounding board, because we're in this life on earth that is about duality. Okay, so we have to have something to bounce off of. If you think about space, if there isn't a point of reference, it's just everywhere and nowhere, right? So you need like a point of reference. You need like this point to bounce from, to be able to see. And then in the 7th house, it's about mirroring. So to be able to see. So those people, those situations, those relationships, those come to you because you've asked them to come to you. Those come to you because you wanted to experience that. And now somewhere in all of that, some of you have forgotten that you are actually in control of this. Because maybe some of you, because as much and as beautiful as your heart is, you can, and you'll never say this to anybody, but you can get into the space where you think, poor me, why would somebody be so mean? Why would they do that to me? Why, and then get into that space. And I'm not saying that's the wrong space. I'm just saying my job is to help you see clearly, okay? So when you understand, there's no judgment. Trust me, there's no judgment. Listen, I've got like a lot of planets in the 7th house. That's like a main focus for me. So when you understand that really nobody has ever done to you anything to you that you have not agreed to or allowed, then you can take your power back and you can say, okay, why did this thing happen to me? Why did this person do this to me? Why did I do this to this person? Why was I able to do this and then do this to this other person? And like, that's the position that they're trying to get you to see, that you're in charge. and that you have these relationships and these situations come up because you've asked them to. But what are you going to do about it? What are you going to learn from that? What are you going to glean from that so that you can move forward, right? And this is your time, Leo. This is your time. You can have anything that you want, and the planets are aligned for you to do this. So I don't know what else is, I mean, like, if you can't hear it, you got to get really centered, because this is like your time. So for 6 months, it's your time. It could be up to a year for some of you. So the Chariot is about you taking the direction, you understanding where you are, you're understanding what these situations and these relationships are, and you taking the bull by the horns, taking the reins and saying, this is what I want, this is where I'm going to go, this is what I want to do in this situation. That's what you're going to be working on in the 3 months of the lunar eclipse. So in the second position, I asked Spirit, what is your advice in this situation? So being able to stand up and say that this is what I want, and this is what I don't want, and this is why this happened, and all of that. In the second house, in the second position, Spirit's saying their advice is the Six of Swords. Now, the Six of Swords is really interesting because that's Solus, right? So this is the Chariot, and that's Solus. And by the way, this is the Sacred Circle Tarot. And I'll have the link below for the affiliate if you want to buy it. I'll get a percentage. I have to disclaimer. So the Six of Swords is about moving away from a situation so that you can get a better perspective, right? Because sometimes you're working so hard and so intently and you're so close to the situation that you can't see because you're tired, because you have a different perspective, because like you've only had that perspective. And sometimes you need to sort of take travel, or you need to like get away, or you need to step back from the situation so that you can get a different perspective, so that you can get some rest, so that your brain can work well, so that you can see the situation for what it is and then know how to move from there. That's what you're going to be working on. They're saying you claim your power, and then you maybe need to step back. And some of you are going to step away from a situation because you need some clarity, because you need some solace, because you need a different perspective, because you need to rest, because you need to like rest on like doing something else, taking a break, and then going back to it with a different eye, right? And that's what they're asking you to do, right? This is what you're going to be working on for the next 3 months. Now, lunar eclipses end abruptly. Like these endings, if you don't end them, they're going to end. The energy is going to move. So it's kind of up to you how that's going to end, right? You can understand that we have an ebb and flow and these things happen and you're going to have these releases, right? So the outcome is the Movement card, but it's the Knight of Cups, which is a beautiful night, okay? So this night brings offerings of marriage, of businesses, of those things that you cherish and love, those things that you're really, really, really wanting, okay? So this night comes with offerings, but they're saying you have to take charge of these relationships, understand what you're wanting to do in these relationships, how you're wanting to have them. To do that, some of you have to walk away or step away or just put it down for a little bit, right? So that you can come back with a different eye. But in doing that, some of you will have to walk away from an actual relationship. But you're going to have to do it. It's not going to be them. You were in charge. It's funny because you're a Leo. You always think you're in charge, right? So you were in charge, but then you weren't handling it right. And that's what's been happening. And they're saying, because some of you, these relationships, and I'm talking about business and finance and family and love relation, all of it, all relationships, whatever your focus has been on, sometimes you gotta let go of that relationship, walk away from that relationship, get away from that relationship. Either finish it out and then complete it, because this is completion, and then move towards what you're really wanting to move from. And moving towards what you're really wanting in your heart and soul, and you have the heart of a lion, so you know what you want. That's what you've been looking for. But sometimes what you're wanting and what you see in a relationship, you're trying to make it in this relationship, and that's not it. So you have to walk away from that, or complete that. I won't say walk away. Complete that relationship so that you can get to this one that you're really, really wanting. The one that you really came here, the one that you think you really came here to do. You came here to do all of them. But the one that's going to make you the happiest, give you joy. Because this night comes with offerings of marriage. This night comes with offerings of bonding and relationships and that ultimate relationship. That's what this night comes with. But you have to do this to get to this offering. And this is about letting go. So some of you I see letting go. Some of you I see, and I'm going to forewarn you here, because this is what Spirit's saying. If you don't finish out a phase and you walk away and don't do anything about it, that's going to come back around so that you can finish it. Okay? So be sure, for your own happiness and joy, that you finish out these relationships. And sometimes that means going to that person, going to that business partner, even talking to your money, like saying, this is not in my resonance, this is not on my path, this is not what I'm wanting to do, and we need to stop, right? Because I'm not happy. This is not what my heart's desiring. And as much as that hurts, it's going to be better off for you and for me to do that, right? So again, if you just walk away and don't say anything, that is going to eventually come back around so that you can finish that phase. So my advice would be to finish the phase, let it go, and move towards this. Okay? So I hope that helps. Now, let's get to, the 7th house is not an easy house. Trust me, it's not an easy house. But it can have so much rewards and gains when you understand where to put your boundaries, how to work in it, the things that come from it, the experiences that you can have in it. It's a beautiful, beautiful house, but it's also one that works very, very hard on you, okay? But you can learn and experience so much in it. And you're the lion. You have Regulus, the heart of the lion. Come on, like, you're the lion. So, in your solar eclipse, this is about gain. So this is about releasing, letting go, finishing out, completion, and this is about gains. And it's in your ascending. And your ascending house, or your first house, or your rising house, whatever you want to call it, is it's about you, your identity. Not your soul, but your identity. Okay? Your soul's different. It's the same, but different. It's hard to explain. Anyway, it's about your identity of who you were, who you are, and who you will be. It's all of that in there. That's your ascending. That's you. You are, if you're ascending as Leo, if you're Leo ascending, like, that's you. Okay? So in this house, you're working on your identity, your self-identity, right? And you're going to be gaining in those self-identities, right? So the first position, again, I ask Spirit, what is the main focus in the rewards and the gains that you're going to be working on and having in this solar eclipse? And you have the 10 of Cups. Please, that is the great, great card in this. That's reward. So the 10 of Cups is really, if this hasn't already started happening, this is going to be happening for 6 months for you. That you're going to be happy finally and joyous finally, and like all these things are just lighting up for you emotionally. These things that you've worked on, these things that you've done, like you have all of these rewards of happiness and joy coming to you. That's what you're working on in this eclipse, getting those things that you have maybe at some point put down because you started to focus on your job, or maybe you started to focus on your relationship and your career's sort of lacked. Like, you're going to be able to do this in a lot of areas of your life because it's your ascending, so it's your overall identity. So a lot of areas in your life, you're going to be happy again. I know many of you have not been happy for a long time. This is your time. But you have to have a better attitude too, because like attracts like. So if you're thinking that I always get, something always goes wrong, or somebody always does something to me, or, well, guess what? You're going to be attracting that. And I know it's really hard when it hasn't happened in a long time, but you start with appreciation of what you have around you, or of who you are, and then you can get to that vibration that's trying to come in for you, right? So this is the main focus of what you're going to be gaining. I see joy, I see happiness, I see smiling, I see laughter, I see satisfaction. Like, that's what I feel like you're gaining in this house. And to further solidify this, I ask Spirit your advice in this situation. And you have the Six of Wands. That's success. Success in these things that your identity is. Success in this growth that you have done over the past 2 years or 3 years, right? It's success. The Six of Wands is about people giving you accolades and giving you things because of the work that you have done, because of who you are, right? And the work that you're doing is expanding your self-identity. That's what you've been doing. You've been working on this earth, in this life, expanding your identity through experiences, through things. Even through things, like, things have experiences. When you get a car, that's an experience, right? When you get a house, that's an experience. So things and places and situations and people, these are all the things that you're going to have success in when you're working in this, if you've been working in this. And for some of you, if the energy is there and it's in your ascending and it hasn't been coming through, because we were in aqua energy, and aqua's about, let's only give everybody enough, right? That's aqua energy. I love Aquarians. I have an ascending Aquarian, but they're all about, let's make it for humanity, right? And aquas trip up where they think, well, we can't take too much because then we wouldn't have enough for everyone else. And that's the wrong thinking. They need to understand about the bigger picture, that energy is unlimited. And so we're moving into that, you guys, Leo, where you're like, I'm going to get mine. I've worked hard, so I'm trying to build a kingdom. I got to sustain my kingdom, so I'm going to get mine. So that's the energy that we're in. Looks like that's going to be coming forth for you. So with it being in your identity and your ascending, it's like a lot of areas of your life. But this is the main focus of your release and changing phases, right? Letting go so that you can receive all of these. Now, the outcome of that is the Two of Cups, okay? So the outcome, the gains that you are going to be having, and it can be in all different kinds of stuff, the gains that you're going to be having in your identity with all of these things that you're coming to understand is the harmony. So this card is harmony, but it's more about understanding your place in this world and how you are creating and co-creating and existing and coexisting with humanity, with the world, with society. That's what you're understanding. Those are the gains that you're going to be having. Learning how to work in those things, understanding who you are so that you can understand your place in this life, so that you can bounce off of the situations, the people, the things, and the life that you're wanting to have and co-creating with everybody else. So when you understand that and how to work in the ebb and flow of life, you can gain all the time. But this is the major focus for you guys in the next 6 months. So I hope that helps. I love you, love you, love you. Thank you so very much again for watching my videos, for liking and sharing and subscribing. And have a great, great solar eclipse. Bye.